And our referee will draw the athletes out to the mat. Erich Munis of Flatteries in blue. Pedro Machado of Atos in the white. And the match is underway.
Oh, nice pull by Pedro. He didn't believe in it, so he went back up on top. And
now Erich secures bottom position and straight in the close guard.
Once again, close guard. At the lapel from close guard. So he starts setting up the lapel and then opens the guard, underhooks the leg, and now double sleeve for Erich. Pedro is going to have a tough time trying to pass Erich's guard, because I don't remember who passed. You remember who passed Erich?
I can't think of anybody who's passed Erich Munis. Erich now on the deep De La Riva X with double sleeve. And that's what I was talking about with Erich Munis, the effortlessness of his sweeps. It seems like he's really not working. He gets the right grips and just gets it done. But yet again, we see Erich for a moment having to fight off that standing single leg.
And keep in mind that that's Pedro's best attack, you know, coming up on that single, whether it's from one leg X or the single itself. So this really hurts, you know, when you play like your best game and your opponent shuts it down so easily, you know, because you get really frustrated, like, what can I do to this guy? You know, and then Pedro is so small compared to Erich. Pedro's not a small guy, you know, but compared to Erich, you know, Erich has the size, has the height advantage, right? And although Pedro has been, you know, successful in every single belt, weight and absolute, you know, Erich has been more successful in the black belt division. So he has, you know, he's comfortable fighting. He's comfortable being in that stage and with the pressure and everything. And although Pedro, you know, has been at the highest of the game, Erich still has such an advantage with, you know, being comfortable there.
Pedro still kind of clawing his way up to the top of the totem pole here, but Erich, as you say, a four-time world champion. He's been there. He's been under the lights. He knows how to perform when it counts. Pedro Machado is climbing. You know, he's making waves, and he's looking solid so far against Erich Munis, but Erich Munis just has the experience factor that can't be overlooked.
Yeah, and it's the experience, you know, the titles, and then there's also the weight and height that creates this sense of confidence in Erich right now, you know, because you can see that he's really fighting like effortless, you know. He's more like flowing than actually fighting, you know. He's not like having to deal with, you know, putting all his energy. Look at this. It's not like Pedro is sweeping him. He's comfortable being on bottom or on top. You know, he's okay with Pedro coming up on top. But at the same time, he doesn't make it easy, because you see, he comes up on top, he's already setting up a guard or a sweep back. And this makes it hard for Pedro to attack, because he comes up on top, he might be putting himself in a worse position. So, you know, it ends up becoming risky to score on Erich. And that's because Erich is comfortable being there, you know.
I'm really interested in the grips that Erich plays to. It seems like he's always finding positions where his partner has to work, his opponent has to work very hard, and Erich has to work almost not at all.
Yeah, and that's, I think that's what jiu-jitsu is about, right? It's finding, whether it's leverage or, you know, finding a way of, you know, doing things effortless so your opponent gets tired before you. Look at this, Eric's talking like he's, you know, like he's hanging out.
Look on his face like he's trying to solve a puzzle or maybe sitting on the couch.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Look at this. He it's not that he's fighting to not get swept, but the moment that he gets swept, look at this. Well, I think that was true. Yeah, that was true. Because he didn't quietly came up. There would not have been 2 points, rather him come up slightly more, you know, but it felt like he was, I'm going to try to fight this to not get scored, rather than like coming up and pulling, you know. I think he's thinking so fast that, you know, he skipped like a couple seconds of coming up on top.
And another sweep that looks like almost choreographed. It looks like a flow roll when Erich Munis knocks his opponent over.
Yeah. Now Pedro is good at this. Even though Erich had his knee down, yes, he's really good at putting the one leg decks. In this kind of modified one leg decks with the, you know, hugging the leg like almost like an X guard. So let's see how Erich's gonna deal with Pedro's main game now.
And this is a position that Pedro is exceptionally good at, that frankly all of the Atos competitors are very good at, is using that single leg X as a way to stand up into a like a wrestling single leg. But Erich wisely then keeping track of keeping a grip on Pedro's left leg so he can't put it to the mat and start to stand up.
And he scored. But it's still going to be too hard for Pedro because Pedro has to score 3 points. He has to pass Erich Muniz's guard, and Erich hasn't been passed. So realistically, who has to solve a puzzle is Pedro, not Erich.
If you were in Pedro positions, Caio, in Pedro's position, and you had to score at least 3 points on Erich, would you go for the back, or would you try and do something nobody's done before and try and score the pass?
Well, I would try to get whatever Erich would give me. The problem is that Erich doesn't really give a lot of options, you know. So I think the back with Erich, you know, there's a better chance of taking his back than actually passing his guard, because there's a possibility that the Erich will play with his hips on the mat, almost like in a double pull situation, and maybe Pedro can take advantage of that. But passing Erich's guard, you know, Erich is not just flexible, is not just technical, but he's saving energy through every match. So he has the energy to fight if he has to. He just doesn't have to yet.
We're starting to see Erich open up just a little bit. Maybe he wants to get this thing done, and he's a very nice sweep there to keep Pedro down.
Guard pass. Because you see, I think that now that time is coming to an end, you know, Pedro starts getting more tired, and then Erich might be like, okay, I can, you know, start putting a little bit more pressure, you know, being a little bit more dynamic, because my opponent is tired. It's not like he's gonna fight you crazy. But you know, in the beginning of the match, both people are, you know, have energy, and then you start fighting crazy. And at the very end of the match, you don't have the energy to, you know, to secure a pass that could maybe easily be held. But you know, just because you use that energy in the beginning. And I think that now Erich got Pedro to that point where Pedro might, you know, might not be able to handle him, to push him so easily. And then Erich can, you know, calmly try to reach a better position.
Erich Munis on bottom in the blue, up by 4 with 2.5 remaining on the clock here, 2 minutes and a half. Erich Munis looking for his second crown title. In order to do that, he'll have to complete this match through Pedro Machado and then take on the winner of the other semifinal on the other side, in the corner of your screen right now. We're going to reset with Pedro Machado once again in his preferred position with that single leg X style up on the shoulder. Let's see if he can come up with it this time. But even if he does, he's got to make something happen. He's got to start getting an angle. He is down now by 6 points.
Well, let's see if Erich's gonna... Oh, beautiful pass. Look how much energy Pedro is wasting now. And Erich is just flowing over him. You see, that's what I'm saying. It's now Erich is gonna be all over him. It's unbelievable how much endurance Pedro has. He's still fighting.
What incredible balance, though, by Erich to maintain that position when it looked like I think Pedro would have been able to topple 85% of anybody else.
I would say 98%, you know? I would say like 98% of high-level athletes. You know, of hobbyists, 100%.
And with 60 seconds to work, Erich Munis up by 9, looking to make something happen here in the closing moment of this match.
And Pedro recovered again. Unbelievable. Oh, beautiful.
You're absolutely right about his endurance. Who can move like that after 9 minutes of Erich Munis?
No, who can still breathe? Yeah. And he's pushing the pace more than before. What the heck? You know? It's like he woke up. He took a shot of caffeine right now. No, amazing performance by Pedro. You know, he's a much lighter opponent. You know, fighting none less than weight and absolute world champion.
Absolutely, this one should be a feather in his cap, even though he will fall by 9 points here to the reigning crown champion, Erich Munis. Munis will look to advance to the final. It appeared to me, I could be wrong, it appeared that Gutenberg Pereira won the other side, so we will have a stellar match here in the upcoming ultra heavyweight final between Erich Munis and Gutenberg Pereira.
It's going to be a really good one. It's going to be a really good one.
Erich Munis pays some much due respect to Pedro Machado, who hung in there to the last moments of the match. And he will advance to the final of IBJJF's The Crown.